Hey again, everybody. Been a little while since I did a video, and I'm going to show you why. Been pretty busy. Been busy building a new car. Been busy working on other people's cars. Been busy breaking my own cars and building new engines, all kinds of different stuff. So we've been kind of busy, but purpose of this video is to introduce you to the Colt, which I did already introduce you all, but it's running now. So any of you guys that have been around a while on that, I don't know what you want to call it, the Colt forums or something like that, this car had been around for a long time back in the days, called Catapult, and nobody knows at this point why the name was there, but that's what it's known as. Story with me getting it, well, start real quick, was that my friend Marco, he ended up buying it originally because he was building a 2G that I had helped build for another friend of mine. He bought that and then he was gutting it to make it a race car, and then I saw this on Marketplace or something, and so we went over to Georgia to pick this car up. Unfortunately, the gentleman that sold it to him has passed on. A young guy too, Wesley Deal. It's unfortunate, he's pretty young. But anyway, so we brought the car back here, and Marco did a ton of work to it. I helped him with some stuff. We've been kind of putting it together, had an idea of what we're doing with it, and so now it's running. I've actually driven it, and it makes power. It's about 35 pounds of boost, 2.4 liter, 6266 turbo, 2G automatic, precision 7 converter, Ford 8.8 rear end. I'll show you that all in a second here. And it has proven to be so far pretty easy. I rewired it, made some mounts for a different thing. Marco had made the mounts for the transmission, did that swap in it. So I got to give him credit for all that, getting that transmission located in there. And but at this point right now, I may be able to run it this week if I can just take some time to wire up some lights, and might wire a little nitrous system just to get it off the line quick. I don't know. The brakes may hold it on the stall. It may not. So anyway, without further ado, let me show you around the car. All right. Well, here's the car. It's a little dirty. Been just working on it. And please, never mind this pigsty of a shop. Obviously, I've had this out here working on this car. I've had just junk everywhere, wiring everywhere. So today, I tweaked my back last night in my sleep somehow. So I'm not really doing anything today. So I decided, good time to do a video. So let me show you the car real quick. So first of all, we'll start inside with what I've done. Took a video here. So we got some Kirkies, gray covers. Let's make another mess. Got some door panels. I'm gonna do some work on the tops. We got a dash shell in there. Take you inside real quick and show you the office. So all the pros say, step into my office. Mount the bottle back there. It's got air to water tank, fuel cell, and jump in here even though my back is messed up. Let's see if I can slide in here easy. So sitting here, it's fits pretty good. When it's not on the lift, the door opens real wide, so it's kind of easy. It's just as easy to get into. Got this really nice setup to put the laptop on. It's real stable. Air to water intercooler right here. Ice box back there. And basically just a 2G shifter. Works fine. Got that already worked up. Got this arc switch panel with the relay panel down there, and we'll fire it up real quick. First start of the day. Gonna put a screen here that will emulate the laptop over here. So I ordered much kill everything. I like that switch panel. So I'm gonna do a screen right here. I just ordered it. It's gonna be a USB powered screen. So whenever it's hooked up to, I can have a little USB power supply in here that I think it's 5 volt, if I remember right. It converts to 5 volt. So, but it'll automatically connect to HDMI through the laptop, and I'll have just a little dashboard in there. It's got a full cage. Welds, not the best, but you know, it's a cage and it's been around a while. So you can see in the back, I'm gonna probably redo a little bit of metal back there, but it's not bad. Got it wired up already. Let me jump out real quick. Okay, not exactly fun with my back not helping out today, so I gotta still make some mounts for the grill. Well, I got a couple things to do, but I think I can race it regardless because it's got enough support for that. But put the aero catch hood latches on. Got the trusty old wood stick to hold up the hood. And so what we have is a 2.4 liter. The cams, I can't remember, they're BC cams. And 62, 66, it is brand new, even though it doesn't look brand new. I remember sending this off to get the new center section. So we got that. I gotta make a mount for this guy and a mount for this guy, but it's drivable at this point. And then I mount this guy. So all the little ancillary stuff I gotta mount up, but the rest of it is pretty well done. 2G automatic, tiny little radiator, straight line performance, which that radiator works fantastic. I may switch this over to compound. I don't know yet. We're gonna find out how this all works. But at this point, this is what we're starting with. And I'm gonna throw a little, I've already spooled it up. I'll show a little video in here. Of that last night. I got some friends that took some videos, so kind of show it. And I didn't even really try. I didn't really pump the brakes or anything before I started to take off. It's got all the way around Willwoods with the scallop rotors. I don't know if you can see all that thing. RPF ones. It weighed, surprisingly, this damn thing is heavy. It's 20. All right, now we're under here. Show you what we got doing. So we got ourselves a parallel 4-link. Track locator is a Watts link. That may be where the name came from. I have no idea. And some of the older guys don't know either. They said maybe they just named it. I'm like, I don't know, but it's got to have some kind of name. Dual 44s, filter there, filter up front. The Willwoods, like I said, they haven't even bedded in and they've been sitting a while, so they got some rust on them. So I think they'll start holding better once they bed in some. It's got Megan shocks, which I don't know, they're real stiff. Seems like they're not going to give any travel or any, you know, they're not going to move. But that's that. 2-piece drive shaft, you know, transfer case, 2G automatic, like I said. I got a fitting I need to replace right here. It's got a little leak. I'm going to tighten it up and it's still leaking. And that's it. So we'll see. Got all the front end. So I've taken it for a spin a couple times and it's ripped. 35 pounds of boost, it gets down. So I'll show you. So that's it for that car. And I'll be putting a video up later this week as far as what I need to build the front cage, but it's held pretty well. I've got Zeus's here and it's bolted in 3 places up here. So this ain't really, I mean, it moves, but that radiator stops it. So yeah, I don't think it's going to collapse in or anything, but I'm only going to run like 330. I need to get a tubing bender and put from up here, the bars come down and around, and I got to figure out what to do with this exhaust. Probably going to shorten this up, get another, I have a straight piece, but I'll probably shorten this up and go straight out the side right here. That's my plan. But so anyway, that's this car. Now we'll move on to what else has been going on and why I decided to play with this one for a little while. Now we're over to the Fox body, the compound turbo 4G63. Well, as you can see, the head is off of it. The other turbo's off of it. I started taking it apart because we are going to switch it now. We're switching it to a 2JZ. Let's see where we're at. Oh, and we've been doing a bunch of wiring around here too. So there's also that. Welding, wiring, big mess. Wiring in here, stripping the harness. I got this harness. This is from Puerto Rico. It was a brand new harness, already terminated everything for the 2G, but there's something wrong with one of the ignition outputs. So I pulled it, put the 2G harness on, got it working, and then I came and stripped it. So these are all the plugs that came off of it, and then there was a ball of wiring that took up this whole area here. I'm in here because we got AC. But anyway, it's still a mess in here. Still a big mess in here. But back to the Fox body. So the Fox body is going to get this engine. And this engine is that a Supra engine? Well, no, not a Supra engine. Probably more like a Lexus engine. But this is the non-VVTi 2JZ, and the non-VVTi is good because it has the strong rods in it and the good pistons in it. The VVTis are weak. So this one, just to get it going, if I decide to stick with the stock rods and pistons to get it just initially fired up, that one is, 700 horsepower capable pretty easily on the stock stuff. But so at this point right now, I'm trying to decide. I've already got a bunch of stuff. I got the header, the turbo. You might wonder why it's on backwards. Well, because I'm probably going to do the compound, so that'll come out here, and the big turbo will be here sideways. I want to leave that all the same. And if you remember, I had that engine sitting really far forward in the Fox body. So what that did is I have like this much space in the back, so it allows me to just put this engine right in. Everything else here, turbo wise, will all just stay in the same spot. The intake would be kind of in the same spot. I'll have to change up because mine has it flipped and going through into the inside. This one I'll change, and I'll put an intercooler under the front probably, or I'll just go methanol right off the bat. So I got that, the intake, the header. I got a bunch of turbos for it. But then I got this guy. This is the adapter from, I think it's ATF is who makes it. And yeah, automatic transmission racing, or ATR, I don't know, something like that. But a nice billet flywheel, or flex plate. I guess it's a flywheel now. So this is to put it to a GM. So this will go straight to the Power Glider or a 400. Haven't decided right now. Probably Power Glide because that's what's in it. And I'll be able to just set that up with a different drive shaft. So starting there, we got a lot of parts for it. Got the pump, got the gear, got the belt, got valve cams, all kinds of other stuff for it. And so that's where we're at on that. We're gonna be building this one. I won't say next. Actually, what's gonna be next is another thing that I probably haven't shared on this channel since the last time I did a video. Is I did go ahead and swap my truck, which is out there in the trailer. If you can see it hidden in there, you can barely see it through there. So it's out in the trailer. It currently has a 5.3 Gen 4 engine in it with 243 heads and a S366 turbo. Runs low 6s in the 8, probably 9s. It's ran 10.0, so it'll probably run a 9 if I run it out. But at this point, I don't like the way that it drives the same. It doesn't drive as nice as it used to. So we're going to put ourselves an LM4 aluminum 5.3 block. Good big thick sleeves. Already gapped the rings. Got the pistons are right there. I think it's that one. I don't remember. That may be for the other car, but maybe they're in that box right there. But here they are. They're a Summit piston. That's right. They're Wiseco, Wiseco Summit branding. Labeling, and so that's that. I had this one out when I was gapping the rings. So rings are already gapped, got the crank is there, Got a set of rods over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and build a whole new short block, swap out the short block out of that truck. That may be the next thing that I do, just because I like to drive that truck. So anyway, let me flip you back around here and talk for a few. So that's where we're at. Man, I don't know how, getting old really stinks, man. You go to sleep, you're fine, wake up and your back is tweaked. Good times. But anyway, we're here. I've been building engines, transmissions for everybody else, and all kinds of stuff. So at this point, we're getting close. I'm probably going to run this car this week since I got it. I feel pretty ready. I took it out and ran it on the street. First, second, third gear pull, 30, 35 pounds of boost. It really hauls ass. I've done a couple of stall ups here that if I stall it in second, I can get it to go. Shoot, I mean, I had it before it moved. One time I held the brakes real good, stalled it in second, pulled the first. It had already made 17 pounds of boost before I had pulled the first, which I guess you're not supposed to do on these transmissions with this size of engine. I suppose, you know, that there's a limitation to it. But I'm going to go ahead and set the arc box up to about 4,200, and it should probably make about 10, 11 pounds of boost. And then try to run it like that. Hopefully it'll get a 140, 60 foot right off the click. And hopefully somewhere in the, I don't know, maybe high threes, in the eighth, maybe a 390, or not in the eighth, but in the 330. And then I don't even know if I'll run eighth. I'm certainly not going to run quarter first off. So we're going to do that this week, either Wednesday or Friday. Wednesday, if I get enough time, or if I feel good enough tomorrow to wire the lights, because I really only need to wire the lights and make a couple brackets to do it without the nitrous. I already have the nitrous bottle in there. Really, I just need to wire up the solenoid, and that's, you know, it's real simple. A couple wires and the grounds through the ECU. So we'll probably get I'll probably get a video out with that car this week, and then I'll get back to the truck. And then the Mustang is going to be a little longer term project, because I want to take some time and decide, like, if I'm going to build this engine before I do it, if I'm going to put the first iteration with the stock rods and pistons. The stuff is pretty beefy, so I might do that just to kind of get it running and get it all felt out and get the tune started and everything. I kind of like to do that, and then I think I'm going to order the dart block and start, go with the dart block and probably some, Manly, the Turbo Tough rods and some HD pistons, and put together a short block that can handle some horsepower. Because apparently with that block, they can make about 1,800 or more, and I don't plan on making that much, but if I can make 15, I'd be pretty happy. I had been mulling over, because the story of why I'm changing it on the Mustang is, ever since I've been chasing this 60 foot on this car, I have been just chewing up bearings left and right. 3 different short blocks that have ruined a couple of aluminum rods. Come to find out, maybe it's what I've been doing on building it, is that I've been running basically 2 thousandths clearance on the rod bearings, and about 1 3/4, 1 7/10, so you say, on the mains, and possibly that's too tight for this kind of power level, because to run the 132 that it's ran at the 2850, I think that comes up pretty close to 1,000 horsepower, which is pretty high for these engines. And I was talking to a guy that's from Puerto Rico, and he had told me that when they're building these, they're running them with like 3.5 thousandths clearance. So there's a possibility that it's been my fault this whole time, that it didn't have a problem until I started chasing these 60 foots, and I've been stalling it up much higher on the trans brake, 6,500, 6,800, versus before I was launching at 4,500, which takes nothing to get there, and it's not a lot of pressure on the bearings. So, but yeah, I've been wiping out main bearings and rod bearings, and I just got kind of tired of it. And plus, I've really always wanted to do a straight six. I just love the way they sound, and I almost bought a Barra, ultimately, in the end, it's probably going to cost, everything's going to cost about the same. But I started looking at it. The 2JZ is a bit smaller of an engine overall, so it'll be a little more compact. And parts are just, they're so cheap. Like this intake was cheap, this header was cheap. To kind of get it going, it's a lot cheaper for the 2JZ. But once you buy the nice stuff, it's about the same. So I think that's it for where we're at now. And I think we're gonna, we're gonna be moving on. The summertime here. Matter of fact, I was just watching. I think it was maybe Tom Bailey, the Six Summer thing, and he was talking to, what's the guy with the green snot rocket Mustang? I forget his name. Brett LaSalle, and he was saying like, yeah, summer's my build time because where we're at, we race a lot in the winter, and since I moved down here to Texaco, basically, I found that racing is more in the wintertime down here than it is in the summer, and you got to kind of set yourself up a build season, because otherwise you just race year round down here, and it's kind of hard on me getting up there in age. I can't really do it anymore, and so I'm going to take the summer to build this car, get this aluminum engine in the truck, and maybe try to get the Porsche back going, whatever. And this car, who knows what I'm going to do with this little Colt. It might surprise me. I mean, on the street, it has surprised me already. I have to be honest with you. I feel like on the street right now, that is the fastest car I have, which is crazy. Like, that Mustang has been 520, like in 121 60 foot. So, and this little car, and my truck is pretty fast, and it's been fast. It's been in the 570s, but this car feels like it just goes. Like it's quick off the line, and it runs through the RPMs real nice. So I think it might be the fastest car I have on the street. Now on the track, it's going to be a different story for rear wheel drive versus all wheel drive. But anyway, I'm not going to keep rambling on. Just wanted to put a video out there because I have been doing so much, and I haven't videoed any of it because honestly, it's just, it's difficult to keep putting out videos. I don't know how these guys do it all the time. And by the time you edit them and all that, it just takes a lot of time. But I figure I'll update everybody with what's going on, and hopefully we have a good 2024-2025 wintertime season with both of these cars, if not all three or four. That's a problem. Build too many cars. Sometimes I have car ADD, so I'll start on one, decide I don't want to do this anymore, and then I'll go to another one. And so I've had this problem since I was a kid. I always wanted to have like all the Hot Wheels cars. You can ask my brother. I'd probably work some deal or take them just so I had all of them. I just wanted the maximum amount of Hot Wheels cars when I was young, so kind of doing it now with just some shit boxes on the reel. But anyway, we're gonna end it off here, and hopefully I'll see some of y'all out at the track. And if any of you guys that are into these Colts have any information that hasn't been shared already, or please share it, because it is interesting to me for this car. I'll finish up with this. It's interesting with this particular car because I personally have built some cars that they started as a nothing car, and then they became known as my car back in the day with the the Camaro and the Nova and my little Chevy Love, things like that. They kind of became a car that had been known because I'd been street racing them or racing them for a while. This is the first car that I got that I've had that was known back in 2008, 2007, 2000. I think that's when it was built, rear wheel drive or all wheel drive setup. So it's interesting for me to come across these posts and everybody talking about the builds and the sales. It's been through a number of people, and damn near ended up in the trash can, to be honest with you. Which would have been unfortunate because it's a real good chassis. It looks like it's gonna work real well. But it is strange for me to take on a car that has history already, and I'm just reviving that history and hopefully improve. I'm pretty sure I'm going to improve on it because I think the car only went mid-10s back when they had it, and this drivetrain I put in here already has been in the 9s in a heavy car. So I think it's going to probably you know, be pretty easy to run 9s in this car. Pretty simply. Nope. So, must be somebody here. But anyway, it's interesting. So any of you guys that have known this car in the past, you know, comment. Feel free to comment about it, and share it up on. I'll share it on the social media sites. This little video, and that way everybody has an idea of what I'm doing. And I'd love to hear from the guys who originally did it, and hopefully, I do plan on trying to take this one up to the shootout this year. I haven't been there yet, but I've been building these Mitsubishi engines now for 10 years and racing them for about 10 years now. So I figure it's probably time that I go to the biggest Mitsubishi event in the United States, because I've, you know, just been futzing around, and unfortunately some of the guys that I actually would want to meet have passed on the last few years. So I think it'd be great to at least get with some of the people that are in the community. And you know, I'm certainly not known in that community by any stretch, and it'd be nice to just come up and represent what I've been able to do, with hopefully this, and you know, maybe another car that I have a Mitsubishi engine in, who knows. But anyway, I'm gonna sign off there, and that's it. You guys have a good day.